15 inmates, all serving life. All died in the same prison, and all under the care of the same man. His name was Dr. Edward Hartwell, the man trusted to keep prisoners alive. But secretly, he was the one deciding who deserved to die. Dr. Hartwell was a decorated physician. 10 years of clean service in a maximum security facility. Inmate population, over 300. Known for being composed, thorough, and eerily calm in the face of chaos, colleagues described him as professional. Prison guards praised his discipline. No drama, no complaints, just another cog in the system. But hidden beneath that calm exterior was a different story, one no one saw coming. In 2017, the first death occurred. Inmate Anthony Rooks, convicted of double homicide, died in his sleep. Official cause, sudden cardiac arrest. He was only 41. 3 months later, another, Ramon Teague. Same story. No warnings, no autopsy requested. By the end of that year, 4 inmates were dead. All violent offenders. All under Dr. Hartwell's supervision. Nothing was flagged. The system kept moving. In 2018, a nurse named Elena Vasquez transferred to the prison infirmary. New to corrections, but sharp. She started noticing small inconsistencies. Certain inmates, ones with violent pasts, deteriorated rapidly after their check-ins with Dr. Hartwell. The same pain complaints, the same dosages, and strangely, the same kind of untraceable nutritional supplements being logged. She questioned it quietly, brought it up to a supervisor. A week later, she was reassigned. Nothing made it into the official reports. No investigations were opened. The deaths kept coming, once every few months. Each one silent, painless, undetectable. And the pattern continued. Only the worst of the worst. Men with long, violent histories, murderers, rapists, serial offenders. No one cried for them. No one asked questions, except the few who were still paying attention. A doctor's job is to protect life, but Edward Hartwell believed some lives didn't deserve protection at all. Edward Hartwell wasn't always a prison doctor. He began his career in the emergency rooms of Chicago, fast-paced, brutal, and filled with trauma cases. But even there, something stood out. Former colleagues recalled how he remained disturbingly calm during death pronouncements. Some even remembered him smiling, not out of malice, but as if death didn't disturb him the way it should. One nurse anonymously stated, "He had this way of calling time of death like it was an award ceremony. No emotion, just cold precision." Hartwell was let go from 2 separate hospitals, officially for personality conflicts. Unofficially, there were whispers about a patient's morphine overdose that never added up. Hartwell's upbringing was strict, almost militaristic. Both parents worked in corrections. Discipline, order, and silence were the house rules. Mistakes weren't corrected. They were punished. As a child, Hartwell was described as bright but disconnected. No outbursts, no tantrums, but also no friends. He was obsessed with rules, and more obsessed with what happened when people broke them. Teachers noted he kept detailed journals about school punishments. One entry read, "Rules mean nothing without consequences. Consequences create order." After multiple job terminations, Hartwell shifted his career. Corrections medicine was less scrutinized, slower paced, and came with total autonomy. No nosy families, no malpractice lawsuits. No one cared how an inmate died, as long as paperwork was clean. He took the job at Ridgefield Maximum Security in 2012. By 2017, he had full control over inmate care. His word was law. If he marked a death as natural, no one argued. And that's when the pattern began. Psychologists reviewing Hartwell's behavior later diagnosed him with signs of narcissistic personality disorder mixed with antisocial tendencies, not violent, but indifferent to pain. To him, murderers weren't humans, they were viruses, and he saw himself as the cure. Hartwell allegedly once said to a prison nurse, "Justice ends in court." But mercy, that's my call. He wasn't just killing, he believed he was cleaning up. One inmate almost died under Hartwell's care, but survived, and what he revealed would blow the entire case open. Carlos de Soto wasn't like the others. Sentenced for a gang-related homicide, he entered Ridgefield with a long rap sheet, but a strong will to survive. Street tough, observant, and skeptical. 2 weeks into his sentence, things started to go wrong. He began experiencing sharp headaches. Then came the tremors. Fatigue, blurred vision. Every test showed nothing, but his condition kept worsening. De Soto mentioned to another inmate that the doctor had been giving him daily injections. "Just vitamins," Hartwell said. "Prison nutrition isn't great. This helps." But every time Carlos received one, he got worse. He started hiding them, pretending to take the meds, saving small amounts in secret containers. He began documenting his symptoms with dates and times. When his sister visited, he slipped her a note. It read, "I think the doc is poisoning me." Within a month, Carlos collapsed during yard time. Emergency transport. Blood work was rushed to an external hospital. Doctors there were baffled. High levels of thallium, a heavy metal used in old pesticides and poisons. Prisons don't stock thallium. It wasn't in the food. The only possible source? Injections. Carlos survived. Barely. Once stabilized, he recorded a sworn statement for investigators. He described Hartwell's behavior, the symptoms, and the way Hartwell always smiled when administering shots. His notes, timeline, and smuggled samples were enough to raise red flags at the Department of Justice. Meanwhile, a second nurse came forward. She had seen Hartwell dispose of unused meds in unmarked containers. Outside protocol, the evidence was undeniable, and Dr. Hartwell's perfect record was about to crumble, with the entire world watching. The DOJ sends in a special forensic task force. Over 30 past death cases from Ridgefield are reopened. Autopsy samples are exhumed and retested. 10 show suspicious anomalies. 3 of the bodies test positive for thallium. 2 show traces of other toxic compounds, previously undetectable. A pattern becomes undeniable. Federal agents arrive early morning. Dr. Hartwell is calm. He doesn't resist. He packs a small bag, adjusts his collar, and walks out with a smirk. To reporters, he says only one thing: "Some monsters deserve peace. I gave it to them." During interrogation, Hartwell doesn't deny the poisonings. In fact, he calls it selective mercy. He believed the justice system was broken, and he had simply corrected its errors. A courtroom gives a sentence. "I fulfilled it." He describes the murders clinically, like a man reading a patient chart. No guilt, no hesitation. Hartwell is convicted on 12 counts of murder. He receives life without parole. The prison system undergoes a massive review. Inmate care protocols are overhauled, but for many, the damage is irreversible. To this day, some believe he was a monster. Others, a necessary evil. Dr. Edward Hartwell took lives not with rage, but with routine. He didn't need a weapon, just a syringe, a smile, and a signature.